Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves, volume, oh gosh, I don't even know what we're up to, 15. Yes, this is number 15. And the work we're going to be talking about is well, not even a work, it's an album. It's one of my favorite albums. And it's actually, this is the one incarnation of it. I've had this so long. It's this one. It's Hindemith, Mathis and the concert music for strings and brass with the Boston Symphony under William Steinberg. This is so fabulous. Oh my God, these are fabulous performances. It's really kind of funny. Mathis has been recorded 100 million times. I mean, it really has. It's Hindemith's most popular single work, along with the symphonic metamorphosis on themes by Weber. But it has so many bad performances. It's actually a very, very tricky piece to bring off. It's very contrapuntal. It has to be kept moving, constantly moving. The first movement has three themes, which represent the three angels on the Isenheim altarpiece. And it starts with the folk song, Es sungen drei Engelein ein süßer Gesang, which, of course, Mahler set the poem. It's a Wunderhorn poem, or a somewhat similar thing to a Wunderhorn poem in the Third Symphony, but to his own music. Hindemith uses the actual German folk song on the trombones. And then you have a sonata form movement with three distinctive characters. The first is the little flitty angel that goes, ya, da 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 dum pum pa, da da da. It's a very Hindemithy theme. Start in C major, do whatever the hell you want, end in C major. And then you have a more tender, relaxing theme. Ya da 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 ba da 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 da. And then the last is a flute solo. Do 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 do. And those are all contrapuntally entwined in the development section. And it has to be kept clear. It has to be kept light. And it's Hindemith, clunky old German Hindemith. It has to dance. The music just has to have that. And in this performance, it does. It truly, truly does. It's a stupendous performance. Then, of course, the second movement is easy to do. It's just a slow movement, the Entombment of Christ. And the last movement, the Temptation of St. Anthony, another very, very tricky movement because it's very formally sort of spasmodic. It begins with that string recitative, and then there's the evil music, do 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 do, and the accompaniment is yumpa dumpa 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 dumpa. Hindemith does a lot of that, and it can't have this sort of jog trot feel to it. Some people just take it too slowly. It's too mechanical. The worst ever is Horenstein. It's you just want to kill yourself. This is perfect in tempo. It's yum ba dum ba dum ba da 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 da. There's a real difference between the accompaniment and the melody. And the accompaniment makes sense. The tempo is great. And then there's that sex interlude, the seduction interlude. Ooh, seduction. Naughty, naughty. And finally, the evil climactic return and then the final chorale. But this is all very sectional. And you have to keep it together, and it has to sound appropriately grand at the end. And Steinberg just nails it. This was actually his second recording of it. He did one in Pittsburgh, which was also quite good. It was sort of a signature piece with him. He really knew it. In fact, Hindemith, whose star is, eclipsed at this point, people don't seem to care very much about Hindemith anymore, and he doesn't get performed the way he used to. But when you did Hindemith, this is the piece everybody trotted out. This and the Symphonic Metamorphosis. Now, the concert music for strings and brass it dates from the 1920s. Mathis was 1934, or thereabouts, and it was, the source of that enormous conflict between Hindemith and the Nazis and Furtwängler, and they all got involved in it, and it became my master's thesis. So I thought that was, I'm good for them. I'm so happy it happened. But the concert music is one of those sort of neoclassical pieces. It's quite fugal all over the place, and it's really another great work. Absolutely great work, full of fun for the brass, particularly in the second movement. Da ba da dum ba da dum ba da 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 ba da dum ba bum. Then it goes do 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 do. All the brass are going umpa umpa pa umpa 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 pa umpa. It's wonderful. And jazzy, quite jazzy. It's just a delicious piece in two movements. It also can sound terribly clunky, although it's been mostly well performed. It doesn't require a lot by way of interpretation, but again, it's a question of movement and clarity and articulation, and they just nail it. Again, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, the original DG release of this, which only had those two works, is still sort of circulating around on CD. I see it on Amazon periodically as like a pricey Japanese import. And of course, it's included in the Boston Symphony box, the big DG Boston Symphony box. But this reissue, which was on their 20th Century Classics label, also includes Der Schwanendreher with Daniel Beniamini and Daniel Barenboim in the Orchestra de Paris, which I think is a much less interesting work. It's a concerto for viola and small wind orchestra, basically. And I mean, it's charming. It's charming and it's fun, but it's not anything, on the level of the other two works here. And Steinberg and Boston are really in a class of their own. So, my Hindemith disc of choice is Steinberg and Boston doing those two works. And again, like I said, there are many, many fine performances of this music. They're truly, truly. I mean, Bernstein did one with the Israel Philharmonic. That's great. Some of that stuff that's also on DG. So, we have a lot of options. We really, really do. But I just think that for the precision, the expressive depth, the understanding of how to mold the music for maximum effect, Steinberg and Boston are my discs of choice. And I'm standing by them. Absolutely. So keep on listening, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. Go get your Hindemith. He's really a good composer. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Take care.